Hi everyone, thank you so much for tuning in today. If you like what we do here and you want us to continue to pump out this great content, go ahead and click that subscribe button. Follow us on social media. We're on Instagram, TikTok, Twitter, and also make sure to check out our new page. It's PrepZone.info. There you'll find all of our content in one place, and also all of our game reports and photo galleries from the sports and events we attend and cover. And before I head over to the podcast, I want to say a big thank you to our sponsors. Are you looking to buy or sell your home, or just curious about what the current real estate market is? Check out AlessandraDivinoHomes.com. Working with Alessandra is your key to succeeding in this current real estate market. And also, ASF Sports and Outdoors. ASF is our sponsor for the Student Athlete of the Month, and check them out. They are 1560 Post Road East, and their website is shopasf.com. Now, let's head over to the podcast. Hi, everyone. Thanks so much for tuning in today. I'm delighted to have on the PrepZone Podcast today, I have Calum, Madigan, and Oliver Samuel. How you guys doing?
Good.
I'm doing good. How about you?
Good. Doing great. Thanks for asking. You guys are both members of the Staples cross-country team, indoor track, and anything running, right? So, Calum, start talking to us a little bit about what do you guys do with the sports you run, and how did you get into the sport?
Okay, so in 8th grade, going into 9th grade, I sort of knew that I wasn't going to be really good at the other sports, so I thought it'd be fun to try out running. So going into 9th grade, I did a little bit of running over the summer, and I found it was really fun, and it's really rewarding because, it's very easy to see the performance. Like, for example, in outdoor track, when I'm running the mile, I see week by week my mile time getting faster and faster, and I can see that improvement. And as for training, it can be pretty tough. We run 6 days a week.
Wow. Okay.
But, when you run with a team, the runs are much easier and go by way faster. I know this summer going into cross country, I had to train alone a lot because, just due to scheduling conflicts and everything.
Right.
And that was much more difficult than, training with the team during the on season.
For sure. And Oliver, how did you get into the sport?
So, well, first of all, in 8th grade, my original plan was to do soccer, nothing in winter, and then lacrosse in the spring. But I tried out for soccer. I didn't make the soccer team because I couldn't run. So it's pretty ironic. So
right, I was gonna say that's gotta be like crazy ironic, right?
And my brother was doing cross country at this time, so I joined. He made me join it. I liked it. Won a couple meets, won a couple trophies, and then I was like, all right, I'm not gonna do indoor because I just didn't like it. And then I got forced to by my brother again. And then I was like, all right, I'm just going to stick with it because I found out I was good at it. And it was starting to grow on me.
That's great. And so now I'm gonna ask some questions that I think a lot of people that, first of all, I want to mention, guys, I don't know if you knew this. So when we were doing some research here in PrepZone, we found out that cross country is the second most popular high school sport, right behind football. Did you guys have any idea it's that popular?
Well, I think the thing about cross country is every single high school, almost every single high school has a cross country team.
Sure.
And it's such, everyone knows what it is. There's a lot of sports that only specific schools have, but I think cross country is just an accepted sport throughout all schools, which makes it popular.
And I remember, I guess my first cross country memory, because I haven't been around sport, was the movie McFarland.
Yeah.
Remember that? Wasn't that a great movie? That was so fun. Now, I want to talk about the meets there's just so many people.
Yeah.
Right? The meets are huge, right? I mean, I've seen some pictures. There's it's hundreds of people running.
Sometimes
so how is it broken down, those meets?
So usually in invitationals, and so there's couple races. There's going to be a JV race, a varsity race, and a freshman race. And they break it up based on times, and then obviously the girls go too. So that in beginning it will be freshman boys, then freshman girls, then JV boys, JV girls, and then so on. So it divides it up, and it I can't
Do you want to talk about how they score the meets, how they figure out which?
That's interesting because it's almost like golf, isn't it? Isn't it we get less points for? Yeah. So talk about that.
Okay, so basically in the varsity races, you can have 7 runners, and 5 of those runners are added in the final score, and 2 of those are displacers. Okay. So let's say we have a meet, and we have one guy who gets first, one guy who gets third, fourth, 7th, and 8th. You add up all 5 of those times, and then you add up the top 5 on each person's times, and the teams with the lowest times win. But if two teams tie, then they go to the sixth man, and the person in sixth place who did better than the other is the one who.
So it's not the top guy; it's like the sixth guy. It's the pressure, right?
Is one of like the most important, just in case you.
He's a tiebreaker. He's a tiebreaker.
That's why it's important to have a lot of depth. You can't just have one star athlete. You have to train everyone, and you know.
So in the races, do you guys kind of stick together, or do the front runners kind of go and then everybody kind of follows?
So usually, well, for our team, we have a couple people that are in front that are like leading and they're like really strong, and then we have like Calum who's like in the middle, but he's still up there, and then I'm in like a little pack with me and Harrison, and we just like kind of work our way through. Like it's easier to run in a group and like take down other people like together, because then you're like motivating each other.
Is there like do people like push each other and you guys in these races? Does that go on really?
There's a lot of elbows that get thrown.
The hardest part is the beginning of the race, because you have like
I've seen the pictures. It's crazy, right? Everybody
like
runs
200
out.
kids all lined up, all trying to get in position. They're all running in the straight line. They're all pushing each other, shoving each other, trying to get in front.
Like lots of people they fall, they get spiked, they're out. Like
Really? Okay. So cross country, at least in the fall, I saw it's a little unique because the boys and girls kind of go to the meets together, do all that together, right? Talk about the dynamic of how, being the boys and girls, the only sport that the teams are together, right? So how does that change anything? Do you guys even think about that or no?
I mean, we train totally different, but it's basically like two different teams, but we just like have the same practices and go on the same buses.
I see.
It's like two different teams competing at the same meet.
There's not much interaction between the two teams.
I see. So like even though you go to the meets together, it's just kind of more a logistical thing than anything, right?
We do our own thing.
Gotcha. Yeah. I just thought it was unique, right? Because the schedules are the same, and that's kind of, I guess it makes it easy. Now I've seen that the cross country meets are very well attended, and I guess my question would be like along the races. So you guys go and there's usually, I guess, a race. Are there people like watching, if everybody's going through the right things and in running the real course, there's no sneaking around or anything like that?
Yeah, there's like these guys that volunteer in these yellow like suits, and they tell you where to go, and they're just like throughout the course telling you where to go.
And I know like during the race, there's obviously so we run 5Ks, which is 3.1 miles, and there's very important markers like the mile mark, the 2 mile mark, which sort of show what your pace is. And like during the mile mark and 2 mile mark, there's these huge crowds of people. They're all yelling your time just so you hear it. And that's where the people are mostly crowded. Oh, and the finish. There's like a huge line of people right at the finish.
At the finish, right? It seems like it's so exciting. Now, it's interesting. I want to touch back on that. You guys talked about how you were going for soccer, then get into running, and then got into the cross country. The training of cross country, do you guys just run for a long periods of time? Do you guys have a regimen that you go through? Talk about how, because I think running is very unique, right? I mean, I think everyone kind of in their lives feel like running is something that's good for your health, right? It sets you up as it's like I want to say it's like a discipline thing. So how do you guys get to the times and the points that you are where you guys are competing at this high level?
Honestly, it's passion. Like you have to like love the sport to be able to continue. If you don't love it, you're gonna not gonna have fun. The runs are gonna be fun. You're gonna end up like quitting.
I see.
But like we don't just do like the same run every day. We have a certain number of runs that we switch up day by day, and then we also have a few days that sometimes we dedicate to speed, where we do like some sprinting on the track just to keep ourselves in shape and everything. Just to
get that finish line, I'm thinking everybody's sprinting as hard as they can to get to that, right? So you're kind of pacing yourself through the race and then sprinting towards the end, right?
Yeah.
Now, if you were to say, what is the one thing about a meet, a race, or the sport that you kind of love the most?
I love like the society or the people that are on our team, and they're all like caring and nice, and it's just fun to be around with. But I also like the meets where everyone's gathering around. It gives you motivation like midway through the race to push, and it just like, and finishing, seeing what your time is always like fun to see if you've PR'd and like moved.
I just like the feeling of seeing like your hard work pay off.
Sure.
So, like after 3 months of summer training, I like to see in a race, I'm like, I never thought I'd be able to run that, and just seeing all the hard work that I've put in, for months, just finally going into play in these races.
Yeah. And you guys train every day?
Every day except for Sundays.
Every day except for Sundays.
Yeah.
And that's like as a team, but on your own, do you do any sneaky running in there or not?
No,
You stick with it.
It will lead to an injury over time.
Sure.
You have to be very specific on how much you run, how much rest you take.
Yeah.
Like a lot of effort in planning goes into the sport.
And Staples is really good at that, creating a training plan that fits the needs of us, so we don't have to do anything else on our own.
Yeah, I know that Laddie's your coach, right?
Yeah.
I mean, he's kind of a legend around town. He does a lot of things like that. What is the importance of? I mean, I guess every sport had a coach very important. But how does he influence you guys in what you do on a day to day?
I think Laddie, with so much experience, he's able to give us a lot of advice, and we also trust him, like what he tells us, because we know he's been doing this for so long. And he's also, I don't want to say he's like our mascot, but he's sort of like, he's the person who represents all of us, and we're very proud to be represented by him.
That's amazing. That's really cool.
Yeah, I mean, if you have any questions, he'll answer them from his experience he's had. He used to run cross country. He was like one of the founders of the team, so he knows.
Yeah, he started the whole Staples cross country.
Yeah, he knows the most out of everyone, and I think it's great to have him.
I'm going to ask you guys, you probably don't know how long has he been there. You probably have no idea, right?
I think like 55 years, 56 years, something like that.
It's a lifetime, right? He's been there for a real long time. Okay, now I've heard this, and I'm going to ask from a layman's standpoint. Do you how many shoes you guys go through in a season?
Oh, that's a good question.
In a season, you usually have your daily trainers, then some workout shoes, and then spikes. So those are 3. But each season, you usually rotate them. So
you run with spikes?
Yeah, in the meets, you have to put in spikes because it's all grass and muddy, and you're gonna slip if you don't.
They're basically like a lighter version of the normal shoes we wear, and then on the bottom they have these holes that you can put spikes into. So.
And they have a carbon plate too.
In each season, so we have these shoes that we use called our daily trainers, which we use for most of our normal runs. We usually change our shoes each season, the daily trainers, but we try and keep our spikes, for example, for the whole entire year, along with our workout shoes, because they're very expensive and they're
kind of broken in,
use them
right?
That much either, and they're broken in.
Yeah.
So
I always felt like when I dabbed in a little bit of learning about running. And one thing that was they talked about was having good equipment, good shoes, because there's so much pressure on your knees, on your legs, right, and the whole thing. So it can be easy. Do you guys do any weight training with the running, or just basically running?
No, we do a lot of core because you need it when finishing for the finish line. You're gonna be without core, you'd be falling over, and you just need that form to be mastered.
Yeah. Right. Yeah. I think you have to, right? You got to be a really well-rounded athlete to be able to run for that long. So you just finished the cross countries outdoors. You guys go to indoor track, right? You're both doing that?
Yeah, indoor track.
Okay, so how does the outdoor difference from the indoor and vice versa?
Okay, so basically in cross country, everyone's running the same event, the 5K, whereas in indoor track, there's many events, and there's relays as well, where you have the baton and you hand it off to people.
Those are always fun to watch.
So I think they're really fun to race too.
Right, they're always fun, yeah.
I think in indoor, the events are the 55 meters, which is for the extremely strong and fast sprinters, the 300 meters, which is also a sprinting event, and then we have the 600 meters, which is sort of like middle distance, and then the 1,000 meter, which is middle distance. We have the mile and the 2 mile, obviously. And then we have some relays as well. So there's a lot of events, and there's a lot of choices that you can do.
And you guys does it happen at the field house? Do you have some events? Because I'm just trying to get people, where would I go to see a race?
So all the dual meets will happen at the field house. And all of the, FCX will happen at the field house. But as the championship season comes around with states and state opens, it's going to be at Hill House, which is this place in Norwalk, and it has an actual track but indoor.
Oh, very cool. Yeah.
Well, basically, so to qualify for FCX in indoor, you have to run a certain time. So we have these 4 meets before FCX called the FCX qualifiers, which is basically where you run that track and you try and run a qualifying time. But let's say me and Ollie, we run an FCX qualifying time first meet. We don't have to go to that. We don't have to go to them anymore, and we can go to the Armory track in New York City. And we can also go to the Hill House High School track, which is very nice.
So you can, there's so many options to keep doing it, right? And then when you go into spring, you go into outdoor again.
Yeah.
And that becomes it's fascinating because, in the Olympics, right, running is all, everybody looks for swimming and running.
Yeah.
Right. And then in high school, you feel like you don't get a lot of reps because everybody's looking at the team sports, right?
Yeah.
And then you get the Olympics. Everybody's like, this is what I want to see. At least for me, Olympics coming around 2024. I want to see running. I want to see swimming.
Yeah,
those are definitely the most.
I think they're the most exciting.
Yeah, because it's like it's individual, right?
Yeah.
And it's I've had this idea, and it's like I think I read it somewhere. It's like for people to realize what you guys do, and it's at high level, you should put a regular person running with you guys, right? To see how you sprint by that person, right? I mean, sure, that'll be interesting.
Yeah.
Okay, now talk to me about the mentality of running a long cross country race. Do you talk to yourself? What's going through your head as you're going through that race?
So usually it's very mental. It's pretty much all mentality. I mean, like the first mile in a race is like fast, super easy. The second mile is the hardest, like mentally, and it's like the most difficult. And you have to like trying to like break that barrier in your brain, as like without doing it, you're gonna slow down because it's like the most painful. And the last mile goes by really fast.
You can kind of see that light at the end of the tunnel, right?
Yeah.
Okay, Calum, what goes through your mind when you're racing?
I'll just think of let's put me in a race. So when I get out, first I'm trying to find a good position. In the first mile, I'm just stressed out. Like, am I in good position? How am I feeling? Because if you feel good on the first mile, the odds are you're going to have a good race. But if you're already feeling bad at the first mile and have 2 miles to go, that's an indicator that the race may not go that well.
Right.
And then second mile is just about, pushing yourself through it. You're in the middle of the race, so you're not really looking to the end, but it's still painful because you already have a mile. And then third mile, it's just like, let me finish this race strong.
Let me get through it, right? Through it. Yeah. Well, it seems like it's so exciting. And I do hope that, more people join it. And I guess for someone who is thinking about, hey, maybe cross country is for me, what would be your advice about getting the sport and what's great about the sport?
I think trying to make friends or trying to get another friend to join with you would help you a lot with like staying in the sport. And I think that just staying consistent and having fun with your runs, like don't take it too seriously. They should be easy. You should be like enjoying every single mile, and just like, because we have groups in cross country, so you're always like running with groups. You're not running by yourself.
It's always fun to do something together, right?
Yeah.
It's motivational. What would you say, Calum?
Well, when I first, going into 9th grade, when I first found out about the team, I reached out to Laddie and I asked what the program was, and I went to these runs. We have them twice a week in the summer. They're called fun runs, which is basically where the team meets up. And I ran with the team, and it was a lot of fun. And I think just when you're going into cross country, finding a training partner or a group you can run with is really useful. And, if they're already on the team, they can tell you about, how your training should be and what to expect. And for me, at least, talking to all these upperclassmen was really helpful in the early stages of it.
Yeah, and it seems like what I'm getting from this is there's a big camaraderie that goes on, right? I mean, because some people might think of running as an individual sport, but like you guys just mentioned, that 6 guys matter.
Yeah.
I mean, it matters huge, right? So it's like as a team, you perform well.
It's
so when
very much a team sport.
Yeah, when I looked at your results, I could see that. But listen, it was absolutely great having you guys. But before I let you guys go, we want to do some quick hits, okay? Some question, not so personal, so the audience gets to know you guys on a personal level, okay? So I'll ask a question, and you guys go down the line and go like that, okay? We fun for that?
Yeah.
All right. No wrong answers, just fun.
Okay.
All right. What's your favorite Drake song?
Oh, I like the new one he features in with "You Eat Money for Fun."
I don't have like a favorite song, but For All the Dogs and For All the Dogs 3rd edition, like the Scary Hours, are like some good albums.
Nice. Okay. TikTok or Instagram?
TikTok.
I'm both because Instagram's very funny.
All right. Favorite movie or series?
Ooh, that's a tough one.
For me, movie, I'm gonna go Gran Turismo. It's this car movie that I saw recently, and it's great.
Oh, as for show, I've actually got into Breaking Bad. So
Breaking Bad, all right. It's one of my favorites too, so I totally relate to that. Okay, so now one food that you would be okay with removing from your Thanksgiving dinner.
Stuffing.
Yeah, I'm going to have to be the same with that.
Not a big fan of stuffing.
Yeah.
Okay, your best Staples memory can be in the sport or outside the sport.
This is a difficult one.
Yeah. Honestly, I think my best Staples memory is freshman year competing at FCX in indoor track. Just the whole environment and community, it was mind blowing to me. It was crazy.
Awesome.
I don't know if I've had mine yet.
All right, that's good. Well, maybe you have it, right?
Yeah.
That's good. All right, math or English?
Oh, I'm a math guy. Yeah.
Math. All right. Fiction or nonfiction?
Fiction.
Fiction.
Beach or sightseeing?
Beach.
Sightseeing.
Coolest thing in your room?
When I went to Bahamas, I stumbled upon these like locals and they were selling these tikis, and I got like a big tiki head, and it's in my room, and I really like that.
Love that.
Probably my mushroom light. I have this like really cool mushroom light that's on my desk.
Cool. All right. One thing you can't live without?
Chick-fil-A.
Not
Chick-fil-A. You're like,
oh, that's a tough one. I guess
it can be anything, or maybe you don't have a thing. Maybe it's like, it's like a combination of things.
I guess I can't live without my family because,
Like that. Okay.
very supportive.
Very cool. All right. If you could have lunch with anyone, dead or alive, who would it be?
I might go Usain Bolt, just because he could teach me some things.
No doubt.
I would like to have lunch with, I think he's passed away now, but Louis Zamperini. You know the guy from Unbroken? He was a runner, and then he had to serve in the war, and then he went to a Japanese prisoner in a war camp, and his whole story is just really inspiring. He was an Olympic athlete and everything.
Very cool. All right. Okay, and this is the last one. It's a tough one. If you could go back and relive one day of your life, what would that day be? Maybe like it's a day that, something great happened to you, or like, we've had all kinds of answers to this, but if you go back and relive one day, it might be the best memory day. I don't know. It might be the same thing. It's interesting because you guys are so young, and it's like you can't think of anything. Yeah, right? It's probably like it's an FCX meeting, but it's like just something to think about, right? Anything come to mind?
Maybe in elementary school, the day before Christmas break, when we did all of those Christmas traditions, that was a lot of fun.
That's awesome.
Probably 4th grade. I was hanging out with all my friends, and like it was just, school was easy. We would go home, we would play Fortnite. It was just like great.
That's awesome. Listen, it was so great having you guys here. I want to wish you the best of luck in the indoor track season that will be around, and hope to see you guys out there racing.
Thank you.
All right, thank you.